Hi, everybody, and welcome to Tri-Valley Home Seller Seminar. We are pleased to have you all join us today on this hot September afternoon.
And just a quick reminder of the rules. We will keep everyone muted throughout the presentation, but there will be room at the end for you to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you might have. We do have a Q&A session built in, but as we go, feel free to type any questions you have into the chat and we'll address them as we go. So, as a homeowner, how do you feel? Does the idea of moving make you feel concerned or stressed out? Does the idea of leaving the home that maybe your kids grew up in intimidate you or make you feel anxious or uncertain? Well, we're here to help, and hopefully we can answer all the questions you have.
And if you do feel that way, you're not alone.
Absolutely.
We'd like to start with introducing ourselves. We're the Better Together Bott and Gaither real estate team. I am Jacki Bott.
I'm Nathan Gaither.
We specialize in multi-generational home sales. We have over 20 years experience in the mortgage and real estate industry and have been Tri-Valley residents and volunteers since 1999.
First off, we're going to go over a couple of our previous clients and how they feel about us. This one is a first-time home buyer. Mike was a great customer of ours. He achieved the dream of home ownership out in Rio Vista, and we actually ended up cutting his commute time in half. He was super happy about it. And he refers to Rio Vista as resort-like living in his 55 and up community that he loves.
Absolutely. Next, we have our forever client and multi-generational client. So she came to us because her parents had moved back in with COVID going on because they were in their 80s. And now that COVID's kind of settling down, we're looking at buying them another additional residence in Palm Desert so that they can all kind of spread their wings back out. And we also have listed a home for them in Palm Desert.
And their daughter actually just got married this month. And they already are planning on looking at investment properties in Indio, California. Speaking of real estate investors, we also work with them as well. This example, the Moshas sold a home in New York to reinvest it through a 1031 exchange in Arizona. And even though we're not licensed in either state, they were happy to have us refer them out to good people and our connections, and we made sure they were well taken care of, and we held their hand throughout the whole process.
So what are the steps to selling your home? Well, your first step is to find a real estate agent, and we would love to be the agent of your choice. The second step is to price your home correctly. And we'll go over more in detail on how we go about pricing in a further slide. The third step is your home selling timeline. So what typically happens is you'll get a action plan of all the things that would need to happen in order to get your house onto the market. And then we need to also consider if you have a timeline of, do you need to be in a certain place at a certain time? Is it a relocation? You know, that kind of thing. The next is consider getting a home inspection before listing. And this is pretty important because we want to know what you're getting into before the negotiation stage. The next step is staging your home for potential buyers and preparing it for market. We want to make sure it's spotless and clean and people can envision themselves being there. The next step is to list your home and start surveying all the showings. So then you're going to have some people going in and out of your house, and your house is going to be broadcast throughout a network of different medias.
Yeah, survive them as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're going to go into contract and start negotiating on those contracts. So this is where our expertise really comes in, that we can review them, tell you what's good and bad about each contract, and kind of give you some negotiation tips on that level. And then the final step is actually closing the deal and transferring that ownership to somebody else so that you can move on to your next dream home.
Absolutely. And throughout this presentation, we're actually going to go over the top 6 selling mistakes so that way you can avoid them. Number 1 is not being educated on current market conditions. Number 2, not expecting home selling costs associated with listing your house. Number 3, not setting realistic price expectations. Number 4, not focusing on the business aspect of things. Number 5, not preparing your home properly for sale. And finally, number 6, not working with the right team.
So the first mistake is not being educated on the current market trends.
So what is the current market like? We're seeing a shifting seller's market. And what that means is a few months ago, it used to be a seller's market. But right now, it's still up in the air and it's shifting currently. Demand still exceeds supply, just like it would in a seller's market. But buyers now have newfound leverage. We see contingencies coming back, as well as homes going for under list price. However, interest rates being hiked up have pushed out many of the buyers, which has raised the average days on market, sales price, and increased inventory. 4 months ago, the average home in the Tri-Valley was on the market for only 3 days, and today that's as high as 31 days on average. The ratio of sales price to list price used to be 115% 4 months ago, but today we're seeing anywhere from 97 to 103%. Inventory is also up. 4 months ago, in each of the 3 cities, we saw 56 homes on the market. Today, we're seeing almost double that at 91 per city. These influences that lead to these factors include interest rates, lack of a supply due to families moving from the South Bay into the Tri-Valley, that more suburban feel, as well as price level resistance. We're seeing homes not get the same appreciation month over month because there's a bit of resistance. We've hit a ceiling here in the Tri-Valley for now. Inflation also has been eating away at people's buying powers.
So here's an example of Anita selling a home back in May versus last month. So back in May, if she would have sold her house, the school was just getting out and it was a really hot market. She had multiple offers and the house would go for over 115% of list price. Now, last month in the same transaction that Anita was going to sell her home, the interest rates had risen 3 times by the feds. And there's more expansive homes on the market. So the inventory is up. After 2 weeks, she hadn't received one single offer. When she did start getting the offers, she did get multiple, but they ranged from 97% to 103% of list price. So it wasn't quite the bidding war like it was back in May.
Mistake number 2, not expecting home selling costs.
So in order to prepare your home for the market, we want to make sure that we focus on the right numbers. So you have closing costs, you'll have some repairs, you'll have moving and storage and some preparation. And we can't really influence closing costs. We really want to focus on the things that we can influence, which is the preparation, some of the repairs, and what kind of things we need to do for the home.
What improvements will pay you back? We want to focus on low-cost improvements that offer high return.
So where to get the best return on investment is kind of with the most simple things. So it's painting, repairing any baseboards, deep cleaning, cleaning the carpets, the floors, the windows, the bathrooms and kitchens, sprucing up the landscaping. Sometimes just a new layer of mulch across the front yard can really improve that curb appeal. Then we also want to make sure that we're focusing on any structural safety items that came out of any pre-inspection reports, such as roof, foundation, electrical systems, and plumbing. We can negotiate some of those with the buyer, but you want to make sure that the safety stuff is addressed before we get onto market. And recently, there was a study done that 65% of home buyers on the market are really wanting a well-functioning HVAC system. So especially today, a functioning AC unit, I would say, is probably on 100% of those buyers' minds on a day like today.
Absolutely.
So other little tips and tricks are appliances and hardware. Little things like changing out door handles and drawer pulls and cabinet pulls can really freshen up your home and give it a crisp, clean look. And another key is good lighting. If your house is well lit, it looks warm and inviting, and people want to spend more time there.
Mistake number 3, selling without an agent.
So there are many costs of selling without your own agent, and some of them are direct costs and some of them are more emotional costs. So one of them is to an agent will help you avoid emotional stress of the sale. So you've lived in the house for 20 years, maybe you raised your family there, you've spent all your holiday family traditions there, you're very bonded to all the memories of that home. Well, working with an agent, we don't have that connection. It's a little bit more business sense to us to help you through that transaction. And also, real estate is a full-time job. It's our job to watch the market, watch the pricing, see the trends that are going on, and let you know in advance if we need to make any changes.
Agents also have access to a really large network. We have over 260 agents in our office alone, and we have access to things like the MLS and local networking. We also make sure to weed out unqualified buyers. A 3% earnest money deposit may not seem like a lot to you. After all, you're getting the full price of the house at the end of the day. Why does that matter? We know that that means a buyer isn't serious. Also, price negotiations take skill. You want to be very gentle when working with someone and acquire as much knowledge as possible before you start to negotiate. Number 6, you ignore your home's flaws. Just like your kid ignores their stinky room or in a Febreze commercial, you go nose blind. It's really hard to see the flaws of your own home when you've been living in it for so long. So we come in with a fresh set of eyes and let you know how to prepare for the least amount of money and get the highest return on investment. We also protect you from exposure to legal risks. Not only do we have errors and omissions insurance, we make sure to read that contract forwards and backwards several times to ensure that you are protected and safe. Fun fact, the median income for all FSBO sellers, or for sale by owner, was $86,500. And for those who sold through an agent, it was up $102,900. This is a 16% difference. That really shows you what a difference an agent can make.
Another benefit is we have targeted marketing strategies to maximize your sales price. So we put your home on all the real estate boards, and we don't know where your buyer might be coming from. So we need to be in front of that buyer regardless of where they are. So if they're on social media, it'll be on social media. If they are into Zillow or Realtor.com, it's going to be there as well. We also have a whole bunch of pre and off-market opportunities. If you don't want a whole bunch of strangers traipsing through your house, we can sell it off-market as well. There are also local real estate marketing meetings to get you additional exposures from even people that are not working for our real estate firm. So we make sure that it gets in front of everybody who is available to buy on the market. Plus, we have additional things that we do, like door knocking your neighborhood and doing a neighbor-only open house, because all of your neighbors are interested. They're going to come through the open house at some point. So what we'd like to do is actually schedule a half-an-hour special neighbors-only viewing so that they can all come and check it out. And you'd be surprised how many neighbors actually want to kind of select their neighbor who they're bringing in. So they're going to tell their friends from school or their friends from work about your home and help us market it for you.
Absolutely. Mistake number 3, not preparing your home for sale.
Buyers are looking for a place that they can envision themselves in, where they can sit around the dinner table and make memories with their families. So they're really looking for something that is clean, it has new features, and in neutral colors.
Staging isn't necessary. Well, whether paying for professional staging or staging with the furniture you already have, we like to follow the rule of 3 Ds: depersonalize, declutter, and discard. We want to make sure that any artwork or mirrors that are out aren't a personal touch and are, again, those neutral colors. And we want to put away all those family photos. Yes, your family is beautiful and amazing, but people want to be able to envision and picture themselves in it and not feel like they're in someone else's house. Allow a buyer to see themselves in your home.
And also reducing the amount of furniture and the clutter around makes your house feel bigger and more open. And that's what people are looking for.
Absolutely. Let in more and more of that natural light, like we were saying.
Another option is if you're totally moved out is to do a virtual staging. So what that is it's a technology where they do a 3D scan of your room and they can actually scale furniture, even rugs and artwork on your walls that aren't actually there. So you'll see, like in this photo, there's a TV hanging over the fireplace. There's actually nothing really there. There's advantages of that, which is it's a one-time cost. So it's a pretty low cost, but there's also disadvantages because if people see it online and they are not realizing that it is a virtual staging situation, they get kind of surprised when they go in and it's empty and vacant. Some people have a hard time with their imagination and can't really picture what it's going to be like furnished. So that can be a little bit of a drawback.
Yeah, like we said, you want to feel like you can walk in the door and picture yourself in that home. And it's a little hard to picture yourself eating on the floor.
Yeah, that's why all model homes with all the builders have all the newest furnishings and newest fads going on in the interior decorating.
World. Yeah, absolutely. Mistake number 5, not setting realistic prices.
So there are 3 different strategies to pricing. So one is to leave room for negotiating. So that would be you price it a little high and you expect people to go back and forth and negotiate with you. That can be a good technique, but it can also kind of take the newness out of your house and it takes the appeal away because it'll sit on the market a little bit longer. Another technique that has been used a lot during the high selling market was to price below market. And what that did was drew all of the people into your house. It got them as many people through your house as possible because it was below market value. Well, during those days, everybody was just doing a bidding war anyway. So there was no risk in going below market value because it was going to go above asking anyway. Nowadays, with some homes going only 90% of the sales price, that's definitely a risk that is a little trickier now and you may not want to take. What we found right now in this market to work really well is to go at a price that is just at market value. So we'll do a full comprehensive market analysis. We'll be watching all of the homes that are in your neighborhood for sale, what they've gone pending for, and really have our finger on the pulse of the market in your neighborhood to make sure that we're at the right price right up to the day before we go on market.
You should be prepared to negotiate. This should be viewed as a business transaction. We know it's your family home, but you want to make sure that you know more than the buyers. This includes inspecting the home, reading through all the disclosures, and really knowing everything you can going into a negotiation. Also, have patience. Listen more than you talk and don't overshare. It's important to ask questions and try and keep your emotions in check while going through the process. Keep in mind the end goal of selling your home and getting into your new dream home.
Mistake number 6 is not working with the right agent.
What to look for in an agent? You want to make sure they're current and connected, as well as knowledgeable. You want them to be organized and personable, but also passionate about their job and taking care of you. You want them to be honest, self-motivated, creative, and tech savvy. But most important of all, you want them to be responsive when you need their help.
So we'll have a fiduciary responsibility to you, and we're going to do everything within our power to ensure that you are getting the maximized net at the end of the day. As a seller who's taken the first step, how do you feel now? Are you feeling more excited, more confident, perhaps a little bit more informed?
We really hope so. We hope you learned something from this presentation. Now to skip past the Q&A session for right now, because we want this mainly for our recorded people, we're going to present you with our link to book an appointment if that's something you're interested in. It would be here at bettertogetherrealestate.com/book-online. And then we will open it up for questions.
We'll also put the booking link in the chat so that make it easier for you.
Mhm.